Hey guys, this is Mr. Waltz. I'm going to show you how to fix your ruler project DXF file in Inkscape. So if you didn't already, go into Fusion and find your sketch for your ruler. You can find it in the browser in the sketch folder. Just click the little triangle to expand it. There it is, sketch one. Make sure everything's in one sketch if you didn't already. Best way to do that is if you have multiple sketches, open each sketch, copy everything with Control C, then go to sketch one and paste it with Control V, and do that until you have everything in one sketch. Then when everything's in one sketch, take it, right click on it, save as DXF, and you can name it. The convention we've been using is your period, what material you want, and then your name. So I'm going to do P1 Wood Waltz, for example. You probably already have this file in your downloads, but if you don't, that's just how you get the file. Then what we're going to do is open it in Inkscape. So you go to your Windows menu, and you should have Inkscape because you recently installed it. It should be there. You can just start typing INK, and it'll show up, and you can click it. You've probably also got an icon on your desktop. So then Inkscape will open. I swear it will happen. Wait for it. Wait for it. Wait for it. Wait for it. There it is. Okay. And I've got the dark theme. Anyways, it'll open up. If you have opened something before, it'll show up in recent files, but probably nothing will be there. You can just click New Document. And then there we go. There's a new document. And what this represents here, this is just a piece of paper, or in our case, it'll be a piece of wood or plastic. So now we need to open our files. We go to a File menu. We're going to go to Open. And then we just want to look in downloads. And if downloads doesn't show up, you can click this bar up here. You should see it. Or you can do click access and downloads. Anyways, there it is. P1 Wood Waltz. You can see for when you put your mouse on it, the type says AutoCAD Drawing Interchange. That's what DXFs are. So that's a good one. Double click it. And it's going to input it into Inkscape. Now, here's the deal. The size of it or scale is super important. And Inkscape sometimes it's normally used for art, and the dimensions or measurements of things are not super critical sometimes in art. But for us, because we're going to make a real object, it has to be perfect. So where it says method of scaling, we need to click read from file. If you leave it on manual scale, you're going to have a tiny little ruler that is not going to be very fun. But if you do read from file, it'll be exactly the right size. That's the only thing you need to change here, and you click OK, and it's going to import your ruler DXF. So you can see it down there at the bottom of the screen. Now we can navigate around. The navigation with Inkscape is best done with your mouse and your mouse wheel. If you hold the mouse down, you can move things around. That's called panning. So you're clicking the mouse wheel and holding it in or dragging it. Okay. If you scroll the mouse wheel, you'll see that it goes up and down. If you hold Control and scroll it, you'll see that it zooms in and out. So mine, you can see it's in the bottom left corner of the paper. That's good. I've noticed some people, for whatever reason, Inkscape loads it so it's off the page. If it's off the page, you're going to have a bad time. Let me show you how you can move it around if your ruler is not in the right place. You can make a select box around it to select everything. To deselect, by the way, you just hit Escape, or you can select things and then click in the white space. That'll deselect. Another way to select anything or everything is Control A as an apple. That'll select everything. Okay, so let's say we want to move it around. So we do Control A, where we make a box, we select the whole thing. And the easiest way to move things in Inkscape is with your arrow keys. So find your arrow keys, and you can move it up, you can move it sideways. If you want to move it further, you can hold Shift when you hit the arrow keys, and it'll move bigger jumps at one time. And if you want to move it really small amounts, you can hold Alt when you use the arrow keys. So anyways, make sure it's on the page on this, inside the paper. If it's inside the paper, then we can go to work on it and start fixing it. So I'm going to zoom in some more, control mouse wheel, and do a little more. Let's see. And I'm going to hide this fill and stroke thing. It probably won't be showing for you. So there we go. So there it is. And you can see that all the text, all the numbers and letters have boxes around them. So this is our main thing. We want to get rid of this. So I'm just going to go around here and click on these boxes and hit the delete key or backspace key to erase them. You have to be careful when you select these. Sometimes it will select the number. If it selects the number accidentally, let's say I click here. Oops, I selected part of my number. Let's zoom in. You can see what I did. I selected part of the number. You can just hit escape or click in the white space to deselect it and then try again. Sometimes you have to zoom in pretty far to make sure that you're getting the box. So we're going around here, we're getting all these boxes and deleting them. And by the way, in the future, we're going to use a different way when we do our dice project. We're going to use a different way to get things from Fusion to the laser cutter that won't involve DXF, so we don't have to deal with this. But the way we made the ruler with the sketch, this is the only way that I know to do it right now. What we're going to do later is actually program Fusion to know that it's making files for a laser cutter, and we can actually just send the solid 3D object that we extrude over to the laser cutter. Anyways, go around, get rid of all of those boxes. The last thing we're going to do here is we're going to change the color of the rectangle outline, because we want to do two things. We want the laser to cut on the rectangle around the ruler, but on the inner lines, like the letters and the little markings for inches and half, quarter, eighth, 16th of an inch, we want it to score those. So it's just going to make a single laser cut that's not very deep, just to mark the wood. So to get it to do two different things, we need to have different colors in our image. So I'm just going to go over here on the right side and just click on the outer box, and you'll see that just the outer box is selected. And what we're going to change on this is what's called the stroke color. And this will be down in the lower left corner. I think there's another way to do it, but this one always shows, so I like to use it. So you can see down here in the lower left corner, it says stroke, and there's a black color swatch. If you click on that little black rectangle, it will open up the thing that lets you control the stroke paint. And what we want to do is take this and make it red. So there's a red slider right here. And if you click and drag on that, you can move this all the way to the right until it says 255. And that will make the outline red. Okay. So I'm going to close the fill and stroke panel. I'm going to click in the white space to deselect. And you can see now that I have my red rectangle around here. So that way, when we send this to Fusion, when we send this to laser cutter, it knows it's got to treat the outline differently than the text and little marking lines. Last thing to do is save it, and we're going to save it. It was in DXF. We're going to save it to a new format. So we're going to go to File, Save As, and what we're going to save it to is this Inkscape SVG format. And this is what the laser cutter, the Glowforge, actually loves to work with. It's designed to work with SVGs. So this is perfect. We got the exact right program that it wants. You'll see that it keeps the file name. So it's still P1 Wood Waltz, but now it's going to have a SVG extension on it. And that will work perfect with the laser. So I'm just literally going to hit save here, and you're done with this. So go on to the next video, and I'll show you how to open this SVG in Glowforge and how to set the machine up to actually make your cut. Okay, have fun. Bye-bye.